11,000 people applied. 36 took part, and now only 4 contestants remain. The unique challenge of landing the space shuttle in NASA's vertical motion simulator in California is just one of the 6 grueling rounds they face. For tonight, the 13th series of British television's toughest quiz comes to an end, and we find the 1989 champion.
Good evening and welcome to the Krypton Factor and to the climax of the 1989 series. For tonight, it is the grand final, when the 4 surviving contestants from 11,000 original applicants do battle one last time to determine who will lift this splendid trophy and be crowned United Kingdom's superperson of 1989. Right now, it's time to welcome back our grand finalists who have performed so brilliantly to get this far. Den Hewitt, who led from start to finish in the Group A final, gaining maximum points in mental agility and observation. Phil Smith, winner of the observation and general knowledge rounds, in snatching a last gasp victory in the Group B final. Liz Vasey, who won the Group C final last week, gaining maximum points in mental agility, observation and general knowledge. And Mike Berry, who qualified as the best runner-up in the group finals, with victory in the intelligence and general knowledge rounds. Congratulations on getting this far, grand finalists, and would you now please take your seats in preparation for the first round. And we, of course, wish them all good luck as we go into round 1, mental agility. And tonight, a test to challenge the sharpest of minds. I will give each grand finalist a phrase and calendar date combined. Like, for example, early on a Monday morning, May the 29th, 89. The contestant must memorize the phrase and convert the date into single numerical digits. 5, May being the 5th month, 2, 9, 8, 9. Then, over a 40-second period, I'll fire questions like, what is the 4th word? The answer, Monday. Monday being the 4th word of the main phrase. What are all the odd digits? Answer, 5, 9, 9. And so on. And remember that the contestant is answering those questions without seeing the phrase and date. A really demanding challenge. We begin with you, Liz. Your phrase and date is going home on Thursday night, February the 5th, 17. And your 40 seconds start now. The 4th word.
Thursday.
The month 6 months later.
August.
The main phrase backwards.
Night, Thursday, on, home, going.
The day 5 days later.
Tuesday.
Digits in ascending order.
1, 2, 5, 7.
How many letters in the last word?
5.
The date 8 days later.
13th February.
The 8th letter.
M.
Total of the digits.
15.
The month 5 months earlier. Well, it would have been September, but you've done brilliantly in that 40 seconds. You've scored 9, Liz. Well done. We move on now to you, Phil. Your phrase is sport after lunch on Saturday, June the 9th, 48. And your 40 seconds start now. The 3rd word.
Lunch.
The month 4 months later.
October.
The main phrase backwards.
Saturday lunch. Saturday on, lunch after, sport.
The day 6 days later.
Friday.
Digits in ascending order.
4, 6, 8, 9.
How many letters in the 3rd word?
5.
The date 7 days later.
16th.
The 9th letter.
E.
Total of the digits.
27.
The month 8 months earlier.
October.
Spell the last word backwards.
Y-A-D-R-U-T-A-S.
No, it's Y-A-D-R-U-T-A-S, but nonetheless, in 40 seconds, a great score. You got 10, Phil. Well done to you. And on we go to Den. Den, your phrase is late night supper on Monday, July the 4th, 39, and your 40 seconds start now. The 5th word.
Monday.
The month 5 months later.
December.
The main phrase backwards.
Monday, supper Monday,
Wrong, so we carry on. The day 8 days later.
Tuesday.
Digits in ascending order.
3479.
How many letters in the third word?
6.
The date 11 days later.
15th.
The 9th letter.
H.
Wrong. Total of the digits.
23.
The month 9 months earlier. Well, it would have been October, but again, a good score. In 40 seconds, you've scored 7, Den. Well done to you. And finally, it's to Mike. Your phrase is, the Sunday meeting of friends, September the 5th, 73. And your 40 seconds start now. The third word.
Meeting.
The month 7 months later.
April.
The main phrase backwards.
Friends of meeting Sunday there.
The day 4 days later.
Thursday.
Digits in ascending order.
3579.
How many letters in the third word?
7.
The date 12 days later.
17th.
The 8th letter.
A.
Total of the digits.
24.
The month 11 months earlier.
February.
Well, you were wrong. It was October. You're also fractionally too late, but a good score indeed. An excellent score. In 40 seconds, you've scored 9. Well done to you, Mike. Well, we almost come to expect it of these 4 incredible performances. And now let us see how those scores translate into points as we go to the scoreboard. And there you have it, with 2 points, Den, then with 6 each, Liz and Mike, but the early leader with a Krypton factor of 10, the Welshman living in Hereford, Phil Smith. Round 2 and the challenge of a lifetime. This is what our grand finalists must attempt, a landing of the space shuttle. So it was off on a flight direct from Manchester to America for the 4 contestants and me. Is it on time?
We're on first flight this morning at gate 29. Have a good flight.
We travelled the 6,000 miles to California and to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Ames Research Centre. There, our finalists were briefed by astronaut Major Andy Allen.
Ames Vertical Motion Simulator. The simulator that you'll be in this evening is the finest simulator that we have for landing and rollout simulations. It's got a tremendous motion capability, and there's some super...
Yes, the landing attempts were to take place in the $20 million simulator where all America's astronauts are trained. First to go, Amersham Secretary Liz Vasey, and alongside her astronaut Andy Allen, due in space next year with 2,500 hours of fighter jet flying behind him. Now, the shuttle is a glider. This is the only control. It's used in conjunction with that head-up display. The circle with horizontal lines protruding represents the shuttle. The diamond guides you down. If you keep the circle on top of the diamond by skillful use of the hand control, you'll land. And one of the exciting features of this simulator is its ability to produce an outside view of how the shuttle would appear if this was a real flight. And Liz doing very well at present. She's very keyed up, very determined. Ahead is the runway at the Kennedy Space Center, Florida. And with no engine power in the shuttle, she can't afford to make a single error with the angle of descent. She mustn't raise the nose anymore or she will lose airspeed. But it's beginning to go up too far and there's no way back from that. And that's a crash. What a tragedy when she was doing so well. Now Welshman Phil Smith coming down at a speed of 300 knots and at an angle of 19 degrees, if he's got it right. And the exterior view shows that, well, he's weaving about a bit, just overreacting slightly on the rotational hand control. He really needs to keep it all a little steadier as he chases the guidance diamond on that head-up display. And he's just beginning to lose control a bit, and this is not looking too good. That nose is going way up now, and he's lost his airspeed, so he can't get out of that. This is bound to be a crash. Here we go now, down into the runway. Hard luck, Phil. The Geordie Den Hewitt next. Can he do what the first 2 have failed to manage and land it safely? Well, it is a bit erratic at the moment. The shuttle at a terrible angle as it comes in over the Kennedy runway, and it doesn't look very hopeful. Indeed, Major Allen can hardly believe that it's still flying at that angle. But just keeps it going over the runway. Can't get it down surely, but it is. It's done. He has landed it, and that's unbelievable. It just didn't seem possible, but Den has done it, and that's brilliant stuff. Congratulations to Den Hewitt. Finally, Mike Berry from Bristol. Like the others, he went through a full briefing session with astronaut Andy Allen and then made 3 practice landing attempts to get the feel of the shuttle. This time, though, he's on his own, no help allowed, whatever the circumstances. But he doesn't need it, he's doing very well. He pre-flared perfectly at 2,000 feet, getting the orbiter's speed down to 195 knots. The wheels now come down at 300 feet. And this is a beautiful approach. If he could just hold his nerve now in over the center of the runway, and the wheels have touched, so he is down. He will drop the nose wheel now, and this is an absolutely brilliant landing by Mike Berry. And so the result decided by Major Allen. 4th, Phil Smith, whose erratic flight ended in disaster. 3rd, Liz Vasey, an excellent approach but crashed on the runway. 2nd, Den Hewitt, almost defying gravity to land safely. And the winner, Mike Berry, with a quite magnificent all-round performance. And so to the scoreboard. And we have a new leader with a Krypton factor of 16. It's the recruitment consultant from Bristol, Mike Berry. Well, a really close contest, and I suspect that this round will be tighter still because 3 of our grand finalists won the observation round in their respective group finals, and the other was second. Coming up, a short, specially shot video sketch containing 6 deliberate continuity errors. Changes in costume, props, dialogue, or action that shouldn't have happened. The challenge to the grand finalists, and to you, is to spot all 6. Tonight, we once again feature Steve Coogan, this time as Melvin Bragg, and joining us for the grand final, special guest star, Kathy Staff. So, turn to your screens, please, contestants. Concentrate hard as we now delve into the world of the performing arts.
Agnes Spaulding went from domestic charlady to an opera singer of international acclaim in just 13 days. How could it happen, one might ask?
Well, I blame the aerosols.
So you're saying there's an ecological motive for your singing?
No. I were cleaning for Mr. Petrucci. He had a gate-leg table that just didn't want to shine. Anyway, he were too tight-fisted to buy me a tin of beeswax, so I had to make do with the aerosols.
But isn't it true, Annie, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this a classic case of proletariat frustration in a capitalist society? Aren't you really saying that you started singing to vent your plebeian anger?
Eh? Oh, no. I just didn't want to inhale the fumes. I used to run through a few bars of Amapola to stop the squirty stuff getting up my nose. Mr. Campanelli came back from work early one day and heard me singing. He said, "Do you want a job?" I said, "Is it worth more than this £2 an hour?" And he said, yes.
And since then, you've performed all over the world, including, of course, the great Carnegie Hall.
That's right, Melvin. And I'm singing for the Pope this Christmas, apparently.
But surely this has changed your working-class lifestyle beyond recognition.
No way. I still do my stuff with a Hoover Junior. One little luxury, though. I've got rid of my bus pass.
Brilliant.
Well, I got sick of waiting in queues. You get veins in queues, don't you?
Yes, That's the lot. Turn to the front, please, grand finalists, and start writing down what you think the 6 continuity errors were. And already some furious scribbling going on, so while they get on with it, I'd like to say a big thank you to Steve Coogan, who has featured in nearly all the observation rounds this series and has done a marvellous job. And, of course, a special thank you to Kathy Staff, a powerful and rather unusual Brunhilde. But now for you at home, here are those 6 continuity errors. Number 1 was a props change. A packet of breakfast cereal was in the shopping basket to start with, but it disappeared a little later in the sketch. Then a dialogue mistake. Agnes Spaulding was later called Annie.
But isn't it true, Annie, and correct me if I'm wrong?
Number 3, another name error.
I were cleaning for Mr. Petrucci.
But it wasn't Petrucci later on.
Mr. Campanelli came back from work early one day.
Next, an action props change. The Hoover that had first separated Dame Agnes and her Viking disappeared when we next saw them. Number 5 was a costume change. There was nothing in Melvin's pocket for most of the sketch, but a handkerchief was in it at the end. And finally, the opera, Die Walkür at the beginning, but Attila de Hun at the end. Well, have our grand finalists continued to shine in this round? Well, the answer is an emphatic yes, and here's how it worked out. Liz, you spotted 4. Phil, you also got 4. And Den, you got 4 as well. So you all finished joint second in this round. But Mike, you did brilliantly, spotting 5 changes, and you win the round. Well done. And all those points now are entered into the scoreboard. And look at that, he has stretched his lead with a Krypton factor now of 26. It's the recruitment consultant from Bristol, Mike Berry. Major Tony Carr starts the grand final assault course race. This is Liz Vasey, and she made a few elementary mistakes on the opening obstacles in her group final, and she's not too secure on them again. Karate is much more her sport. She is a brown belt, and next year hopes to be a black belt. Another little error there. She's also very keen on saloon car racing and is a member of the Silverstone Racing Club. And a real test coming up for her now on this rope swing. But she's over very well indeed. Now here go the 3 men. She knows they'll be hot on her heels, because if you look back to the group finals, only 12 seconds separated these 3. And indeed, Mike Berry on the far side and Den Hewitt in the middle, just 4 seconds between them. So we are expecting a tremendous race with these 3 men chasing Liz Vasey down the course. And already Mike Berry has pulled away from the other 2 just a little bit as he goes up onto the high balance. Liz elects to come down on the rope rather than jump, which will certainly lose her a few seconds. Let's see how the men take it. Mike jumps it, Den jumps it, Phil jumps it. So already they're into the pipe just behind Liz Vasey, and Mike Berry shot up through that pipe on the rope and is into the lead. Den Hewitt is now in 2nd place, Phil is in 3rd place, and Liz already has dropped back to 4th. Over now into the cargo net, and Den doesn't let go of that rope, and that's allowed Mike Berry to go ahead by a few more yards. He goes on to the tramwires and shoots across there, so his technique is absolutely perfect at the moment, and he's gone quite a few yards clear of Den Hewitt and then Phil Smith. And indeed, when you look right back to the heats, all our contestants improve considerably when they get to the group final. These contestants, particularly the men, improve by up to 30 seconds, and now they're going even faster in the grand final. Mike almost at the top of the 30-foot scramble net, keen footballer. He's captain of West Town Football Club in one of the Bristol leagues and involved in circuit training every week, and it's really paying off here. Den Hewitt in 2nd place, also keen on soccer, also cricket, represents the DOE in both those sports, he being a civil servant. And Phil Smith, a keen marathon runner, so he's got plenty of stamina. But those 2 are going to need all they've got now if they're going to cut down on Mike Berry, if they're going to catch him before the end, because he's going so strongly through both the water jumps as though they hardly existed, and he's looking very strong indeed. Has Den got anything left here? Slight stumble there, and he can't afford any of those errors if he's going to catch Mike, but he's now pulling it out. Den Hewitt definitely coming back on Mike Berry, and so is Phil Smith. Phil Smith is almost level with Den Hewitt. So can they catch Mike before the end? The landing is going to be so important in the water at the end of this aerial slide, and here comes Mike, 6'1", 12.5 stone, and a good landing. Now it's Den's turn. He lifts those feet high in the air, plants them into the water. That's good as well. And Phil Smith just behind, but that's not so good. Takes a lot of water in his face. But Mike Berry hasn't relented under that flat net. He's got the finishing tape inside. It's been a brilliant run right down the course. Never let up for a minute. 10 points to him. And in fact, Phil Smith has snatched 2nd place from Den Hewitt. He gets 6 points. Den Hewitt gets 4 points. And we now go to the scoreboard, and that assault course victory increases his lead to 12 points. With a Krypton factor now of 36, Bristol's Mike Berry. Into round 5 now, and another test for the grey matter. A 3-dimensional logic problem which could hold the key to the outcome of tonight's grand final. And fresh from their trip to California, that American space shuttle should still figure strongly in the grand finalists' minds. And having flown it, we now want them to build it. In front of each contestant is a set of differently shaped pieces. If assembled correctly, they will make a replica of the famous space shuttle. Are you all ready, grand finalists? The test starts now. Well, all 4 of our grand finalists felt that flying the shuttle simulator in California was one of the greatest thrills of their lives. I'm not sure they'll be as keen on this encounter with the plane. And one of the secrets of building it is the realization that the wings and tail section must be fitted last. And that section with United States displayed should in fact be towards the rear of the shuttle. Phil Smith Well, he crashed the simulator. Can he make amends here? He was second going into the round. Liz, joint third, has those United States blocks in the correct position. And here's the man they all want to stop, Mike Berry. And still those United States blocks wrongly placed. And the same applies here with Den Hewitt, joint third with Liz at the start of the round. Hereford's Phil Smith just struggling a bit here. He hasn't worked it out yet. And Liz, well, that's unfortunate. She had the US blocks right, but now she's moved them. Meanwhile, Mike Berry has also moved his blocks, but into the right position, and he's almost there. On goes the tailpiece, and he's in tremendous all-round form tonight. Phil Smith, that's better, and he now seems to know exactly what he's doing. Almost finished, but Den Hewitt spots the error with the United States blocks. Round they all go, and now he's in the position just to attach the wings and put the tail in position, and he does it. Second place, 6 points. Well done. And now for third place, I think Phil's got it. The tail slotted in. Now that wing secured. And yes, the 4 points for the Welshman. Well, congratulations again to Mike. He certainly loves that shuttle. He landed it brilliantly. He's built it perfectly. And we shall add those points now into the overall scores. And he's stretched his lead again. Out in front with the Krypton factor now of 46. It's Bristol's Mike Berry. The last round, and just a couple of minutes away now from crowning our new Krypton Factor champion. 100 seconds of rapid-fire general knowledge questions to be answered on the buzzer. 2 points for a correct answer, but 2 points deducted for an incorrect one. Stand by, grand finalists. The clock starts now. By what name are members of the Unification Church called after the... Liz?
Moonies.
Correct. Which friend of Dickens wrote The Moonstone and The Woman in White early detective stories? The answer is Wilkie Collins. Lewis Collins played which role in The Professionals? Den.
Bodie.
Correct. The Pope's bodyguard in the Vatican are called the Den.
Swiss Guard.
Correct. At which Swiss resort was Prince Charles staying in 1988 when he and his party were caught by... Phil.
Closters.
Correct. In which city are the Cloisters Museum, part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the Guggenheim? Liz.
New York.
Correct. What flavour is the traditional Yorkshire cake called Parkin? Mike.
Ginger.
Correct. Who created the characters of Ginger, Henry and Douglas in her Just William books? Den.
Enid Blyton.
No, Richmal Crompton. What did Samuel Crompton invent in 1779? Den.
The Mule.
Correct. In Two Mules for Sister Sarah, who played Sister... Den.
Shirley MacLaine.
Correct. Who fled with Donald Maclean to the USSR in 1951? Phil.
Kim Philby.
No,
Burgess.
Guy Burgess. Which sculptor's works include The Burghers of Calais, The Kiss and The Thinker? Den.
Rodin.
Correct. Which rodent builds lodges to live in and dams streams? Liz.
Beavers.
Correct. What is the USA's beaver state on the Pacific coast between California and Washington? Mike.
Oregon.
Correct. The ore called bauxite is the principal source of which metal? Phil.
Iron.
No, aluminium. In music, a minim is equal to 4... Liz.
Semi-quavers.
No, quavers. The Quaker Elizabeth Fry was particularly interested in the... And that's it, the end of the round, the end of the contest, and the winner tonight and Krypton Factor champion of 1989 with a tremendous score of 50, the recruitment consultant from Bristol, Mike Berry. Well, what an absolutely tremendous performance throughout this contest. And right now, I would like to invite down to receive the trophy the new United Kingdom superperson of 1989, Mike Berry. Congratulations. That was just fantastic. You led from the second round, marvellous score of 50. You must be very pleased with yourself.
Well, obviously, I'm delighted. I've enjoyed everything, and it's just fantastic. I can't say any more.
Well, absolutely terrific performance. And now to make the presentation, having flown here from America specially for this occasion, I'm delighted to welcome the man who did so much to make our trip to the Space Shuttle simulator possible, the director of NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Lieutenant General Forrest McCartney. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. I know you hadn't seen the Krypton Factor before. This was your first taste of it. What did you make of it all?
A spectacular show, Gordon. It really was. Very exciting, very thrilling.
Can I now ask you to make the presentation to our new champion, Mike Berry?
My honor, my honor. Mike, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
And that is a fitting conclusion to the 1989 Krypton Factor series. So until next September and the 1990 series, good night, and let us congratulate one more time the Krypton Factor champion of 1989, Mike Berry.